Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 5:30 p.m, so I'd like to commence this meeting. Begin by saying that we are acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the Noongar Wadandi people and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal community and their culture, and to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to those in the gallery, and to anyone online, thank you very much. This is a briefing meeting. There's no decisions made at this council meeting. Attendances and apologies. Councillor Gasseb, I notice you're online, but we've got you down for leave of absence between 18th of March and 9th of April, so you're obviously not on leave.
I've been asked by the community to come and ask some questions, so I'm just going to participate in item 10.41 and then leave.
Right, thank you. Councillor Andrew, you're online as well. Thank you. Mayor McGuill has approved leave of absence from 31st of March to the 11th of April 2025. I have no announcements as a presiding member. We have one disclosure of interest for Councillor Quain on 10.3.2. Councillors, are there any other declarations of interest? Thank you. We'll move on, thank you. Public question time, there are none. Next week we may talk to the ones that were asked in the last meeting, and their responses are there. The minutes of the previous meeting we'll be dealing with next week. We have no petitions or presentations, but we have 3 deputations. Councillors, we have Mr. Brian Rettinger, Mr. Tom Dillon, and Mr. I beg your pardon, and Mr. Graham Millington. Someone moved that we accept those 3 gentlemen. Councillor Quain moved, seconded. Councillor Steck. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Yes. Karen, write it down for me. I couldn't hear you.
Thank you. That's better. Okay. Look, I'm here to speak to 10.4.1, which is the draft tourism plan for Bunbury. For those of you that know me, I was part of that tourism working group in the beginning, but for other reasons, I had to leave the tourism working group partway through, so I didn't get to see the completion of the final report until a couple of days ago. But when I saw it, some red lights went off, and I have some comments on that. So I don't know whether we can get it on the screen or not, so maybe just follow along from this handout for now, because I note the page numbers, and you can go back and have a look at it later. It's in the agenda package. I think it starts at page 140. So thanks again for inviting me tonight. Also, for those of you that know me from the past, you know how passionate I am about tourism, doing things right in that area, and particularly for the city of Bunbury. So I have some talking points. Number 1, the draft tourism plan recommends an inferior location for the BBC. It assumes that the current location, the Bunbury Museum and Heritage Center, or BMHC, is okay. But the fact is that while it's in a decent location, it's too small. It only has 2 desks for the VC staff, but no greeting or meeting areas for visitors, and no adequate space to display any maps, tours, and literature, or BBC members' publications. It's really a tight squeeze, and it's really in a co-inhabited institution, which really is the museum itself, should be taking precedence. The BMHC office is not very visible other than the yellow flags in front as people drive by on Arthur Street, mainly because it's not located in a main route through the city. Now, interestingly, the report itself actually says the same thing, but that's based on customer surveys and feedback from the customers, from the visitors. Point two, the BVC should be relocated to the old train station, the former office location of the BVC. Now, I've stressed that point, quite frankly, for the last 3.5 years. To me, it's common sense. To me, the people that have been in the old visitor center and the train station loved it, absolutely loved it. It had multiple offices. It had a separate room that you could have meetings with customers. You could do things in confidence, or you can do them across the counter. Active staff, full wall spaces for literature and for BVC member brochures like mine. I was in the tour business for 6.5 years. I loved the place and I loved the people. But ever since early November 2021, when there was a security incident over there, the staff was quickly pulled out and put in the lobby of this building, where they remained for 15 months. To me, that's just unbelievable looking back on it. And in some respects, unforgivable, because they were not in any ideal location at all. You had signs on the old office saying, come up here to the city building. There was no place to park. It was just ridiculous, and it was torture. So the OTS, the old train station, would be an excellent BVC location because it has sufficient office space, high visibility, great accessibility for all types of people, including disabled, and easy walking distance to the CBD hotels, restaurants, and shops. We all know that the visitors are in the CBD. There should be no question about that now. We went through a trial where there were visitor offices at both the Dolphin Discovery Center and at the History Museum. The History Museum won the count hands down. So the OTS also has lots of free parking, including caravan parking, plus plenty of green space around it for visitors to feel welcome. I strongly believe that reactivation of the old train station and now the Bicentennial Square project, which people have commented on and will be going ahead soon, to me, that's the ticket to put the visitor center back in the OTS. What Bicentennial Square needs and what the OTS needs is reactivation. If you put people there in offices and you improve the area in terms of safety and security, there's no reason why that can't be a welcoming space. That's exactly what was said about Carmody Place when the city spent $2 million or more to brighten up that area and fix up the roundabout and put trees and plants and everything in. It's immediately adjacent to where the visitor center was. So how can the visitor center and the old train station be an unsafe place when you just build a safe place immediately next to it? The answer is it can't. The trouble is that people have the perception that that area is unsafe because homeless people were there, and I'll be quite frank, vagrants were there, just occupying the space, and it wasn't activated. So I think part of this is reactivation, and part of it is putting a safety and security plan for that area. Also, I understand there's an empty office there that you might be able to put a ranger station in. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we had a ranger based over there, keeping an eye on things and making sure they don't get out of hand? Then there would be no questions about safety in that area. Okay, point three, there are no responsibilities assigned for visitor management and reporting. Now, one of the things about this report that I was disappointed on is it doesn't talk about any personnel. I mean, it doesn't talk about who's responsible for the plan. It doesn't even cover the basics in terms of, responsibilities of the BVC staff or anything. It's got a lot of content to it. It's very colorful, but it doesn't have some of the key points covered that you'd expect to see in the tourism plan. Tourism plan requires people to execute it, but I don't think there's anything in the whole report that talks about how the staff are supposed to function or anything like that. It's all about profiling the visitors and different types of visitors and different types of experiences and all that. It's like Tourism 101, but it's not specific to Bunbury tourism plan. How do we get more visitors here? What's the visitation management scheme? Now, there is a lot of stuff on visitors in there, I'm not trying to be too critical of the report. What I'm saying is I don't see the deliverables in the report that I would expect to see. So visitation management is one of the most important aspects of tourism. So a visitation plan is needed to forecast, not just measure every 3 months the number of visitors, but also to forecast what we would like to have or what we would like to accomplish in future quarterly forecasts or for future quarterly reports on the actual number of visitors coming in. That's all types of visitors. That's day trips, overnight, multi-day, intrastate, interstate, and overseas. The tourism plan, as I said, does not say who's responsible for visitation management. In specific, on page 23, and this is just an example, there's a chart there that's called VC Guest Journey. It's just fundamental. One look at that simple chart tells you that it's inadequate. For example, there's no box that shows BVC members. You know, we have 160 members in the Bunbury Visitor Center, and that hasn't altered very much from before COVID, even until now. The big difference now is that those members have been getting the services of the BVC for free ever since they were moved out of there in November of 2021. Nobody has had the responsibility to go back and say, gee, we should be charging our members an annual membership fee. That's basic. Every visitor center that I've ever belonged to, including Ferguson Valley and others, has charged a membership fee. Why aren't we charging a membership fee? And between membership fee, also if there was space for merchandise sales, and I'm talking about unique merchandise like Aboriginal merchandise, T-shirts and things like that, and also artwork and crafts. We've got a huge number of artists around here. If there were adequate space, which there is in the old train station office, to display that stuff, between merchandise sales and visitor membership fees annually, you'd get at least $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Why haven't we been earning $50,000 or $60,000 a year? Because we've stuck the visitor center staff into pigeonhole locations and moved them around and trialed them here and trialed them there. Is Bunbury actually serious about tourism or not? We've got so many events. That's why I put a tourism working group together to start with Councillor Steck. That's how I envisioned things that would work. But it quickly fell apart when the city staff worked closely with their own tourism consultant and the TWG was disregarded, quite frankly. That's my opinion on it. So the current BVC location at the Bunbury Museum and Heritage Center in the CBD is too small with minimum visibility. Now this is a big one. On page 30 of the tourism plan, under visitor experience, the very first action item mentions the visitor center being moved to the Kambana Tourism Precinct. Well, that's not on.
Sorry, Mr. Rettinger, I feel loath to interrupt you, but that's 10 minutes. I'll give you a couple more minutes,
Okay, 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll finish quickly. So first of all, if the BVC was relocated to Kambana Bay, it would be a huge mistake. The visitor numbers there, especially during the colder months, are much smaller than the CBD. And the walking distance from the CBD to Kambana, the Dolphin Discovery Center, is approximately 1.8 kilometers, too far for both seniors and disabled visitors to walk. The Kambana location also was ruled out last year by council in your council meeting in September 2024. So it was ruled out by council. What's it doing in this report? Finally, I had a meeting with the mayor a few days ago, and I have a separate report, a two-page report, if anybody wants to pick up a copy, that we discussed with Ruth Bird from Chariot Charters and myself. We spoke with Mayor Jason about the idea of shuttling visitors around the CBD and to various city attractions and events. It would be like a cat bus is in Perth, where you can hop on, basically. Now, this wouldn't be free. A financial model would need to be worked out. It wouldn't be totally free. But if you think about it, what's the best thing to reactivate the CBD shops and businesses on Victoria Street, the visitor center, and the whole Bicentennial Square precinct is some sort of vehicle that will take people around and even take them over to the DDC and drop them off there as part of that route. Now, if we had a transport idea like that, I think it should be further developed and maybe looked at before this tourism plan is finalized. Finally, I hope I've demonstrated that the draft tourism plan needs more work. And it also needs a bit more focus in terms of what's important to be saying in that report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr Rettinger. We always appreciate your comments on this matter. Next, we have Mr Tom Dillon, former Deputy Mayor of the City of Bunbury. Mr Dillon, would you like to come forward? You also have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor, councillors and officers of the City of Bunbury. Last time I spoke here, I wasn't real well, as Mr McRobert will recall, but I'm back up on my shanks, and I'm here because last week myself and the manager of the Bunbury Geograph Motor Museum had an hour with Mr McRobert and the lady, I can't think of her name, Liz Allen. It was the most inspirational meeting I've ever had from anyone at the Bunbury City Council. We started off with the concept that I'm here to talk about, but then Mr McRobert told us of other plans, and it makes me get out of bed in the morning. As you know, I'm one of the directors of the Bunbury Geograph Motor Museum, and late last year, when I was extremely unwell, Council took the suggestion of retaining the former Australind rail car. And the rail car is still sitting out at the marshalling yards at Picton. We haven't shifted it because the plan we have would eliminate double handling. Now, we would like Council to consider favourably the idea that we have at the Motor Museum to get the rail car into the centre of the city, place it alongside of the western wall of the Motor Museum, where visitors are in the heart of the city, and we stand to benefit because we have a tourism facility. So it's a double banger that I'm here to talk about. I've also put together relevant paperwork, not to jump ahead of Mr McRobert, but to have Council understand that we are very serious about what we would like to do. If we can get approval to put that there, the transportation and the craneage is our cup of tea. We have in-kind offer to do that, and I'm talking well over $100,000 to do that. The fit out, we would have our volunteers pull out the seating and anything else, and then the fit out, we would require some assistance from the city to do that, but we would put in, amongst other things, we would put in a toilet there so that people weren't having to go into our museum to use the toilets, but we would do it in cohesion with the City Council. So that's all I'm here to talk about. And Madam Deputy Mayor, I have paperwork, if you will allow for it to be distributed to each councillor, that will also help in the decision that you make next week. It's not about Tom Dillon picking up $1 on the side. It's about invigorating the centre of the city. I had reason to go down Prinsep Street today, and it saddened me, I'll say no more. Then I had reason to go out to Eton, and I've got to say it saddens me as well. So thank you for your time, and give it the serious consideration that we need. We're in the throes of speaking to the people that will lift it with the cranes and transport it in, but I don't want to do that and get into the nuts and bolts of it if Council says, no, that's not a goer. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Mayor, councillors and executive staff.
Thank you very much, Mr Dillon. And you're within your 10 minutes too, Mr Dillon. You're under 10 minutes. Yeah. Thank you. Mr Graham Middleton, would you like to come forward and speak to us, please?
Good evening, all. I won't need 10 minutes, so that's okay. My name is Graham Millington, and I'm the Vice President of the Colts Creek Club, and I'm here on behalf of the club to just set some things out. I'd like to express my strong need for the proposed development of the new cricket nets down at the rec ground. A facility we believe is not overdue for safety concerns, but also vital for the future of our club and cricketing community. Cricket nets are the beating heart of any club and is all what you need for a training, where players of all ages, skill levels, learn the game, improve their technique and build confidence. Safe to say, while doing so, unfortunately, our net facilities no longer meet the demands of our growing club, nor the safety standards. The existing nets are very outdated, with them being constructed almost 30 years ago in that position they currently reside. They're coming to the end of their lifespan, and it well and truly is showing now. In result, we're having to make do with inadequate netting, worn-out surfaces, lack of space, and often splitting trainings to avoid overcrowding and direct impact in participation, and undermines our inclusive and welcome environment to all. I came to you on the 15th of August of 2023 and spoke to you about getting support on renewing this facility. And we're still here today. The council voted to support the Community Sporting Recreation Facilities Fund application that night. And while that process has taken a long time, it's taken me 2 years ago, I started the funding after an accident where someone got hit due to holes in the net. Within the last 2 years, I've personally funded the repairs to these going nets, and it's getting to keeping to somewhat maintain a safe environment for all that use. The new nets would allow us to provide a safer and more effective training conditions for all our players and runners club members that we interfere with at the moment, and expand our club to juniors and other players. It also supported from local schools and regional development pathways that also use our nets and facilities down there. And it's hard because we understand that your decision's not easy, and we appreciate the many priorities the council have to balance out, but this investment is well overdue now. We have been happy to collaborate, contribute and be a part of the process this whole time, but unfortunately is starting now to impact our club far too much, and this is something that needs to be actioned upon ASAP, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr Millington. Councillors, we're now dealing with the method of dealing with agenda business. I propose to go to 10.4.1 and then 10.5.1, so Mr Rettinger and Mr Millington can leave if they wish. So can we begin with Bunbury Tourism Plan 10.4.1? Is there any questions on this, councillors? Councillor Steck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It does relate to comments on page, I'll find it in a second, I have dog marked it. In relation to the reference of if a plan were to be developed of Kumbana Drive, so that's on page 163. It is of the view of myself that should be removed. Can we remove that paragraph? Main reason is that this council, well, I don't want to debate, but Madam Chair, I seek confirmation that would be in direct contrast to the motion that we passed last year.
Now, Councillor Steck, I'd imagine that's something you might have to bring up next week if you wish to move that's removed. Thank you. Any further questions?
Madam Chair?
Just a moment, Councillor Gassif. I think Councillor Turner had her hand up, then I'll come to you. Thank you. Councillor Turner.
Thank you. I have quite a few questions. Can we review the key strengths and weaknesses to make them more clearer? Some of them, just to me, aren't very clear. If I can give an example, we've got transport and access. Is that from other towns, or is that just in Bunbury? Because, I mean, we've got things like Ubers. I don't understand the relevance of having Ubers in there.
Acting CEO, I hand over to you. Before I did that, it was remiss of me not to give the CEO's apologies. He's recovering from COVID, so that's why he's not here. Acting CEO, thank you.
Through the chair, I'll hand this to the Director of Sustainable Communities for comment.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. I'll actually handball this to our visitor officer if, Gabby can answer that.
Yeah, we could definitely look at those strengths. It does note that we're talking about the connectivity through to Perth. Perhaps we could be more specific about the new highway opening and those sorts of things.
Yes.
Also, if I could, they've got trails, but to me, trails are, walking out in Minia Park or something like that, but it sort of basically says that it's to do with pathways and walkways, which to me is, were you talking about the CBD or are you trails to me is walking the bush? I don't know. Can we look at that as well? If I can follow up again too.
Acting CEO.
Yes, through the chair. Thank you.
Yes, we can look into that as well.
Thank you. And then you've got nature area tourism, but there's no mention of like Minia Park or Maidens or wildlife, flora or fauna. You've also got arts and culture, and there's no mention of street art or Indigenous art, And I think they're big strengths within our CBD and our arts and culture. And then for events, sports, tourism, you've got Cinefest and Lost and Found, which is more geograph-based, not Bunbury-based. I'm just a little bit surprised. Yet we don't mention like our, world-class facilities like Breck and Hands Oval, which to me are huge draws for tourism. If I can go on as well, please. Products. We've got hero attractions, and we've only got the Dolphin Discovery Centre and the Bunbury Wildlife Park. I mean, why is the list so small? It's just surprising that there's only 2 items on our hero attractions. Weaknesses, we've got product marketing.
So,
and
Councillor Turner, you frame it as a question, please.
why have we focused on Bunbury Geo instead of just Bunbury?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll revert this to the Director of Sustainable Development.
We'll take that on notice and come back to you with some answers on that, Councillor Turner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner.
One more if I could. With the actions, have we considered looking at touch screens for tourist information, like basing one in the Dolphin Discovery area and possibly other places around the CBD, like the city of Bunbury? Have we considered that?
CEO.
Through the chair to the Director, please.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. We have had those discussions internally about the option of touchscreens within the CBD, but I'm not sure what that, if there's anything else that can be added at this point, but we can get some more clarification on that.
Thank you. Is it possible that something like that could be placed in the action section?
Again, through you, Deputy Mayor, yes, we can.
Okay, I've got one more question, please. Can someone just explain to me, please, 2.11 product and accommodation? We've got feasibility and alternative accommodation like glamping, eco-retreats and off-grid style. How does that fit into Bunbury? Regards to glamping, I'm not sure where you would go glamping in Bunbury, and you might prove me wrong. And eco-retreats and off-grid style, where would that fit into Bunbury, please?
Acting CEO.
Thank you. Through the chair to the Director, please.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. We are looking at a range of various opportunities, including glamping, RV parks, I wasn't aware of any off-grid proposals, but given the advancements in technology, that could be a potential for the future that we could anticipate. So,
Thank you. Councillor Gassett, sorry, you got one more, okay.
So would that be in the Shire of Bunbury, or are you talking geo?
no, these are considerations within the City of Bunbury. We actually have some proposals that have been put forward that we are considering. So.
Thank you. Councillor Gassett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm hoping you can hear me okay.
Yes, we can, thank you.
Madam Chair, I also probably shouldn't be attending because I'm personal and medical reasons, but sometimes the appeals of the community makes me to attend. So the question is relating to action item 1 on page 169 of the report on 10.4.1, which is to locate talks about locating the Vista Centre in Kambana, which appears to contradict council decision in September, which struck out Kambana Bay. I'm just wondering how that is recommended in the report.
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll revert this to the director, please.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Gassett, I wasn't involved in the preparation of the document, but I can take that on notice and come back to you with some advice. Excuse my voice.
Thank you. Have a further question, Councillor Gassett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be just signing off after this item.
Pardon, can you repeat that?
I'll be signing off after this
Okay,
item.
thank you very
with your
much.
permission.
Thank you. Is Councillor Quain?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I've got some questions.
Thank you.
Just referencing David Rettinger's deputation. So is there any capacity in this plan to relocate the Bunbury Visitor Centre to the old train station?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, thank you to the director.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. The current location of the Bunbury Visitor Centre was a decision of council as a temporary solution ahead of some of our major projects and investigations surrounding the location. There were some antisocial behaviours occurring around the visitor centre, and they did present some dangers to staff. We're also undertaking preparation of Bicentennial Square, which may or may not eventually result in the visitor centre going back to the train station or within that precinct. And I guess just to touch base on a comment that Mr Rettinger made as well, we are considering public transport within the CBD, and we are having discussions about a potential CAT system or other forms of transport. So there are a number of queries that he made that we are actually addressing at the moment.
Thank you. Councillor Quain.
I've got two more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. My next one is, who is responsible for the deliveries that are mentioned in this plan?
CEO.
Through the chair, I'll direct that to the director.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I might divert to our tourism staff.
Thank you. Councillor Quain, one more.
Last question. Who is responsible for the visitation management in this plan?
Acting CEO.
Through the director, thank you.
Going to lose my voice, sorry. Yeah, again, I'll direct that to Gabby.
As a senior tourism officer, I'll be looking at the plan and the rollout, but we also do have leading teams allocated to every action inside of the plan as well.
Thank you. Is there any further questions on this item, Councillor Steck?
Madam Chair,
Just a moment, Councillor Gassett. Councillor Steck has the call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just in relation to if there was a Kambana Bay precinct signage, a strategy, entrance strategy for tourism, why would the number 4 of the executive recommendation to be to shut down the Bunbury Tourism Working Group, and a supplementary, I wasn't consulted with that. So my question would be, why is there a mood to wind up the tourism working group when clearly we haven't finished what we started.
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll revert that to the director. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. The reason for shutting down the working group was that it was considered that the terms of reference and the tasks associated with that had actually been met.
Councillor Steele, Councillor Steele, just before I move to you, I thought Councillor Gassett may have been in. So Councillor Gassett, you asked your further question?
It wasn't a question, Madam Chair. I just couldn't hear the answer to the previous question by Gabby, by the staff member. I'm just wondering whether they repeat it for us, what the answer was.
His microphone was on, but yeah.
Okay, well, that's all right. I'll get it later then.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I am in charge as a senior tourism officer for the rollout of the plan, and then each action has a leading team allocated to that inside of the
Thank
plan.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Right, Councillor Steele.
Did this plan go through the working group for comment?
Acting CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to the director, please.
I'm informed that it didn't. So.
Okay, Councillor Steele, further question?
Yes, I do have further question. Page, sorry, I need my glasses. I think it was 169. Sorry, no, I'm lying. Gosh, sorry. Page 163, about the location of the Dolphin Discovery Centre. It says there is no signage as you enter the Dolphin Discovery Centre. My question would be, is that because we decided not to have it there anymore?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair to the director, please.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Sorry, Councillor Steele, could you repeat
Sorry, on
that,
page
please?
163, it says location, Dolphin, or the in-person feedback. It does say there is no signage as you enter the Dolphin Discovery Centre. Is that whilst it was there, or is that now that we've decided to not actually have the actual visitor centre there at all?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair to the director, please.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. I'll just ask that of my staff.
I believe looking at the document just here, that is actually, sorry.
Yes, speak to the mic, please, yeah.
Just looking at the page just then, that is actually feedback that was put into the report from the consultant from in-person interviews and feedback throughout the process. So that was capturing some of that feedback.
And one more question, if you could. Now that I know that this didn't go through the working group, can I have a question as to why it didn't go through the working group, please?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair. Thank you, the director.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Felicity, can you answer?
Yeah, I understand the reason it didn't go back through the tourism working group is that it was through the terms of reference. I wasn't here through that process, but with the terms of reference, they'd met their strategic advice through the consultant through the process, and then it was brought forward through to council for briefing sessions, and then was to come forward to council for endorsement. That was the process, I understood.
Councillor Steele.
Can someone please forward me their terms of reference so I can actually see what they are? Thank you.
Acting CEO. Thank you.
Thank you. We will do that.
Councillor Stick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering why the original consultants report that we paid $40,000 for, the original report stated that CBD was the preferred location for the visitor centre, so that's not in that report, and I'm questioning as to why.
Acting CEO.
Through the chair to the director, please.
Yep, through you, Deputy Mayor. I'm not sure, Councillor Steele. I'll have to investigate that and come back to you.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Steele? Thank you. Any other questions on this item, councillors? Thank you. If not, we'll move on to 10.5.1, determination of the outcome for project PR 5154 recreation cricket net replacement. Any questions on that? I think those nets were there when I was a kid. So councillor Steele.
Thank you. Not to have anything against this or voting, you know, whatever way, but my query, I suppose, is so I can get it in my mind, that the total was going to be 180,000, which is third, which 50, I've rounded it up, 6 times 3, 180,000. So this will be, the 115,000 is then separately on top. Will that be a third, or are we going to take the whole lot?
Acting CEO.
That makes sense.
Thank you. Through the chair, can I revert this to the director, please?
Through you, Deputy Mayor. At this point, once council has adopted and approved for this to happen, we then go back to the grant funding and apply for more money. But we can't apply for more money prior to council adopting this.
Thank you.
So then another question. How long will this delay the process of getting new nets there? Because they are right on that, debating, sorry.
Acting CEO.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director, please.
Sorry, Karen, can you repeat that for me?
I was just wondering, because you then have to go and apply for obviously more funding, how long would that, does it usually take for it to say yes or no? And how long could it delay it for? Obviously, would it be ready, I suppose, in time for the next cricket season next summer?
Okay.
Ish.
Acting CEO.
Thank you. Through the chair.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. There would be no delay in the construction of the nets. We would actually go straight into construction. We've already done the procurement on these nets. So once it's approved through here, we would take it from the city's rate fund and then apply, but it wouldn't delay the construction of the nets at all.
Councillor Steele.
And we're allowed to retrospectively ask for money after something has started?
Good question, Councillor Acting CEO.
Thank you. We'll have to verify that, but I understand that is correct.
Thank you. Any further questions on Councillor Turner?
More around curiosity, there was a lot of feedback from residents in that area.
Sorry, councillors, could you, I've been pretty lenient, but would you mind addressing the chair with your questions, please? Thank you.
Chair, there was a lot of community consultation about residents back in that that had noise issues or something. Has that been moved, the nets, and what do we get for the nets? Is it just 2 nets?
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll revert that to the director. Thanks.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. There was consultation with the community because we did want to shift the nets over to the back corner. They didn't want the nets there, so we're actually leaving the nets where they currently are and just moving them slightly out because we're going from a 3 to a 4-5 nets.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Turner? Thank you. Councillor Quain.
So I understand that, sorry, Chair. So I understand that the location is pretty much the same. What impact will this have if there's any future development in that area with the proposed ocean pool?
Acting CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to the director, please. Thanks.
Through you, Madam Chair. With the designs I've currently seen with the ocean pool, this is not in the area at all. We're with Rocky Point. It's actually on the rec ground itself.
Thank you. Any further questions on this matter, councillors? Okay, thank you. Mr Middleton, for your information, the decision will be made next week. Thank you very much for your attendance. Councillors, back to the agenda, and we begin with 10.3.1, Proposed City of Bunbury Bushfire Brigades Amendment Local Law 2025. Is there any questions on this item? No? Thank you. Move on to 10.3.2, Rate Exemption Doors Wide Open. Any questions on this matter, councillors? No? Thank you. Next, 10.3.3, Financial Management Report for the period ending 28th of February 2025. And Councillor Steck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask questions in relation to the capital project summary, if I may.
Yes, thank you.
There's a couple of amounts in here which equate to probably $183,399 for relocations of the visitor centre, and it's obviously in the museum site. So why are we still spending money in relation to upgrades for our tourism team there when that's only a temporary facility?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll refer that to the Director, Sustainable Development. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I wasn't aware of that, Councillor Steck. I'll have to take that on notice and come back to you.
Thank you. Further?
Yes, Councillor Stick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This relates to PR 5332, Spencer Blair Street Plan Engagement, and also there's another one on the following page, Bicentennial Square Precinct Plan PR 50995. I'm assuming that because it's 65% progressed, Councillor Steele asked at the last meeting, could Element show us a plan that actually showed that Blair Street was going to maintain as 4 lanes, not 2. Could we actually see that plan?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll refer that to the Director.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Sorry, Councillor Steck, was that in relation to the Bicentennial Square project? We can forward that plan to you.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Stick?
There's funding for the signature events grant round. Sorry, thank you. Just in relation to developing the, I guess, a main event, an attraction event, that's to the tune of $350,000. Is that all going to go to sports, i.e. the football and the next other sporting body coming to the city?
Acting CEO.
Through the chair, I'll take that on notice and verify with the team exactly what that's going towards.
Any further questions on this item, councillors? No, we move on to 10.3.4, schedule of accounts paid for the period 1st of February 2025 to 28th of February 2025. No questions? We'll move on. We've done the 10.4.1, the tourism plan, and we've done the cricket nets. So that brings us to a close. Does that not, Acting CEO? Is there any further? Yes, so that brings us to a close. Thank you.